Hello and welcome to Sport This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Coming up on the program, we're starting off with the news coming from the D Tigers camp, and these guys stays perfect, winning their fourth game in the AfroBasket qualifiers. And for the D Tigers, they're already through to the final round of the FIBA AfroBasket qualifiers after a hard-fought victory over South Sudan. 75-70 it ended in favor of the D Tigers. Also on the program, Haaland, what's the guy on the double? He stayed perfect for Borussia Dortmund, and that was how they were able to beat Sevilla 3-2. For this lad, he has scored 10 goals, becoming the fastest player to score 10 goals in the history of the Champions League. I mean, reaching 10 goals in with one team. Also, the one you saw earlier, you've already seen, well, Naomi Osaka. Yes, he got the better of Serena Williams again. I mean, prevails over Serena. And at the end of the day, it was the end of the road for Serena. And so her quest for a record, equaling 24th Grand Slam title, has been delayed again. Osaka prevailed 6-3, 6-4. So the third seed right now, she is in the finals of the Australian Open. Of course, that's how we're starting off the show this morning with Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. We expected something more explosive, but somehow Serena Williams, you really even know how to say this, because did she capitulate, or maybe she just wasn't good enough on the night? But give it to Naomi Osaka. She had a very good game, and she will now face Jennifer Brady, because in that Saturday's final, it's going to be a very tough one for her. So Osaka is boasting a record of 3-all in a Grand Slam against Serena Williams. So she faced 30-40 deficit, and of course, she had a potential hold she was on, but she had to dig herself out of it and was able to beat Serena. So after digging herself out of it and holding the first serve, it turned out to be the turning point for her. She rolled on 5 successive games, 6 of the next 7 games to take control of the game. And for Serena, well, you say it's the end of the road for her again. So she's the oldest woman to reach semis in Melbourne Open era. Then she had a kind of a flawless performance coming into the semi-finals, and everyone was thinking, okay, Serena is going to turn the table around, but somehow she was error-prone. Her unforced errors were so much. I mean, at the end of the day, she just couldn't, withstand the firepower of Naomi Osaka. So for Naomi Osaka right now, usually anytime she gets past the round of 16 in the Grand Slam, she'll go ahead to win it. 2018, when she won the US Open. 2019, she won the Australian Open. 2020, she won the US Open. So anytime she's at this particular stage, usually she's favorite to win it. So it simply means that she has now won 20 consecutive matches after the last time she was on duty for Japan in February. That was the last time, she lost a game. So you say now is a 21st consecutive victories for Naomi Osaka. So that's the lady to really watch out for. Everyone is saying you have a legend, Serena, and of course you have the upcoming legend, so to speak, Naomi Osaka, because Serena Williams, yes, she's the greatest athlete of all time, and Naomi Osaka, upcoming great because of her performance so far at the not just Australian Open, the US Open. So if she gets to the final, I mean, she will just be favorite to win the tournament. And talking about the other game earlier today, Jennifer Brady and Carolina, it was all about Jennifer Brady, 6-4, 6-3, and 6-4. Jennifer Brady winning that. So the final of the Australian Open will be contested by a Japanese and, of course, an American. So 2 of them will be meeting in Saturday's final. We'll see if we're going to have a new winner of the Australian Open, or maybe Naomi Osaka will win it. But if you look at history and what she has done over time, usually once she gets to this stage, there is no stopping her. But we'll see if an American will be able to stop her from getting that 4th Grand Slam. 3 already, 2 from the US Open, 1 from the Australian Open. And if she wins this, to be 4, 2 from both Grand Slam. Okay, I will not be doing all the talking alone. Austin will join us later, but right here I have Tolu Oloruntemi. Your name, okay. Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you, Ceci. Great way to start.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I will take you off for a lesson on how to pronounce that name. It's not just the whole word. It's just the whole word. Don't worry. I'll teach you off some other time.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ceci.
All right, let me just quickly, I mean, I talked about Serena Williams and, because she was playing in a very flawless way, we're thinking this is it. This is going to be the 24th. She's been waiting for the Holy Grail. She's been anticipating and thinking, but somehow, Naomi Osaka again. I mean, if you look at the Grand Slam right now, all the times that Serena Williams has lost to Osaka, it's all about other Grand Slam. So 3-0 right now in the Grand Slam. The only time she's beaten her happens to be in the WTA.
Yes, and sadly for Serena Williams, we have to wait for the 11th time to see if she can make it to equal Margaret Court's record. I still think Serena Williams is the greatest player in this era. And if not because they had to dates back to some donkey years.
I don't understand.
Regarding her as the greatest,
open era.
describing her, regarding her as the greatest tennis player ever in the world. But unfortunately, she has this donkey she has to jump over, and she just can't get through. And unfortunately for her, it is Naomi Osaka again who has stopped her for the second time or for the third time in a Grand Slam. And it is not funny. Yeah. She got really emotional. She's 39. She's losing a game to Naomi Osaka in Australian Open. Look, everything tends to get to her, and it's quite understandable. It is the 10th attempt since she won the 23rd, and she hasn't been able to move past that stage. So it's quite painful.
She's been to 4 finals already. That's really...
And, it didn't take her this long to get to 23. All of a sudden she's struggling, but I think she has a power, she has the strength. She can go all the way. She can continue to fight some more, and sooner or later, I think 2021 should be her year. If she continues with the way she has started this year, I think she might just get it. Look, if I'm going to go by what we've seen so far, Naomi Osaka has won 3 Grand Slams, 2 in the US Open, 1 Australian Open. If she wins this one, it'll be the 4th. Guess what? It's an Australian Open and a US Open. So I think that leaves the French Open and the Wimbledon. For Serena Williams to fight, because clearly looks like this hunch will go away.
Okay, when it comes to the hard courts, she's just the lady to watch out for. Okay, Serena Williams, after everything and all that, she was actually, I watched a press conference, I was touched, because when questions kept coming when she was going to retire and all that, she just couldn't answer most of the questions. She cried and, she left the courts and all that. We really felt for her.
She should hold her
and everything.
High.
Because
she have 23 Grand Slam titles.
There shouldn't be any pressure.
Only one human on earth has one more. So I don't know why she's getting very emotional. I know that it's...
I think because of the questions and people putting the pressure on her to go ahead and do it.
They will. She's 39. It's just normal for anybody to ask anyone in any sport, you are 39. When are you going to retire? Do you think...
Tom Brady is 43.
Well, he's not operating at a level of
Serena is operating at a very high... Serena Williams
is on a different pedestal. So, to operate at that level at 39 is a whole lot. It's a big achievement.
An individual sport, not as if it's a team sport or anything.
It's a big achievement all about you. So I think she needs to take it easy on herself. Yes, it's quite understandable why she's emotional. She's a winner. She wants to win. She has lost a whole lot lately. But I would want her to win. I would want her to equal that record. If for anything, I would want her to better that record. But can she do 2 more Grand Slams before she retires? That's a big question. And let's see if she can do that. I would love to see.
Okay, I would love to see that. We still have the French Open, the Wimbledon this year, and of course, you also have the US Open. These are the 3 Grand Slams left for the year. French Open last year, she didn't compete. She has struggled with the Achilles heel at the US Open and all that. If she's fully fit, and the Serena we saw at the Australian Open, she continues like this at Wimbledon, that might just be the place where she will get her 24th. Okay, let's leave tennis. And I won't ask about Rafael Nadal because I know that everyone is upset that Rafael Nadal is out. But I'm happy because it's not going to equal that.
Really?
It's not going to surpass Roger
Federer's record for now. For now.
And I pray Djokovic.
The French Open comes soon.
Yeah, very soon.
The French Open is here very soon. And we know who's the king of clay.
Okay.
That's a good place to equal and surpass.
Okay, that's a good place to
very
leave tennis.
Easy place, actually.
That's a good place to leave tennis. Thank you. Now, quickly, let's move over to the NBA and take a look at some games that were played on the night. And, of course, it was supposed to be 13 games for the night, but 3 were postponed, of course, health and safety protocol, coronavirus and all that, COVID-19. That's the reason 3 games didn't take place. But we have the 10 for you, and starting with the games, the big games we're going to be picking is the game between the Jazz and, of course, what happened to the Clippers. The Jazz right now, they just don't know how to lose a game. That's
No, they
what
don't.
it's looking like. They don't lose. They keep winning. Their winning streak is, when you look at it, you're like, what are these guys trying to do? Well, they're trying to prove a whole lot of points. And for them, it was a good day for them, actually. A very good day. Okay, let's go through the results of the games that were played last night. We just saw pictures of the Jazz and
the Clippers.
The Knicks and the Magic, it was 89-107 that ended. And of course, the games between the Hawks and the Celtics, 122 and 114. The Rockets and the 76ers, Joel Embiid, had a good game on the night. For Joel Embiid, well, he returned to for them to end their drought after, that loss. After the loss. So for them, they were able to beat the Rockets 113 and 118. Embiid went for 35 points. Back-to-back games he has done this. He had tightness in the last one. He missed Monday's game against high-flying Utahs, and they had a third straight loss in that one. But he came back. They were able to bounce back in style. And for him, in this particular game, he had 31 points. That was after he had that 35 back-to-back, but he didn't get up to 35 in this one. He had 31 points, 11 rebounds, just a double-double, just one shy of it. It could have been a triple-double, 9 assists, and they had to dig deep to beat the Rockets. Their 7th defeat in a row. Not a good one. And for the 76ers, they improved to 19-10. It's still top of the Eastern Conference, but then when you have the leaders right there doing the very best, simply means that, well, it's all about the Jazz right at Nuggets and the Wizards. Now, 128-130. This one will get me talking. Why? Because of, well, we talk about, the Wizards. It's Russell Westbrook. He had a good game in this one. Yeah, he had a double in this one, a good game in this one. For the Pacers and Timberwolves, was 134-124. Pistons and the Wolves, 102 and 105. Blazers and the Pelicans, 126 124. Thunder and the Grizzlies, 113 and, of course, 122. And for the Heat and the Warriors, it was all about the Golden State Warriors. Of course, when you have Steph Curry having a clutch in overtime, that was what he did. He put up 25 points, 11 assists, and, of course, that overtime win over the Miami Heat. Most important bucket, that was what he sealed at the desk for them to get that. Jimmy Butler, of course, had 13, 11, and 12, a triple-double, but that just wasn't enough. And the game of the night is Jazz and the Clippers. Now, that game, Tolu, I know that's the one your champion and the Beats to actually talked about. That game between the Clippers and
the Jazz. And gladly, I think the Clippers have been underperforming. This year hasn't been the year it's not just the right way to bounce back off a disappointing playoff season. And then having been eliminated in the playoffs in that manner, and you are supposed to go for it, and then you are still slacking, I think they will not be happy with themselves. But you wouldn't really fault them last night. They missed 2 of their most influential players. They missed Kawhi Leonard, they missed Paul George. But it's the Clippers, and they have a great setup. But they're coming up against a really informed Jazz side who haven't lost in the last 13. And Donovan Mitchell, in the form that he is, and Robbie Gobert, it is almost impossible to put the Jazz aside right now. However, the Clippers will be really disappointed in themselves because they should be aiming to be higher up on the rankings than where they currently are.
Okay. All right, let's go for a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Okay, you guys can talk to us on our Twitter handle. The Falcons are already in action against CSKA Moscow. They're leading by a lone goal, and Chinwendu Inwezwe, she's the lady who gave them the first goal against CSKA Moscow. Remember, they're in Turkey for the Turkish Women's Cup, the first time the Falcons will be taking part. And most of the girls will be talking about the fact that, yes, they won the winning. So tell us about the Falcons. Since October 2019, the first time they are together for a particular tournament. Yes, coronavirus happened last year, COVID-19, and it's still on, and so they all can't postpone to 2022. Tell us about that on our Twitter handle. And, of course, the UEFA Champions League, the games played last night. Haaland seems to be the guy that is taking over from Cristiano Ronaldo, and, of course, Kylian Mbappe taking over from Messi. We already have our 2 top guys right now. That's what I think. So tell us about those guys.
How did you get that?
What they're going to do. They run the show both nights, right?
Oh,
so tell us about that. And also the Tigers.
So how do we know it's Haaland for Ronaldo and Mbappe for Messi?
I'm looking at their style of play, the hunger. The way Haaland bullied defenders and all that. I'm just saying.
I think they're both closer to Cristiano Ronaldo.
They're both closer. We'll get to the Champions League much later. Yes, Austin is also on with us this morning. Austin, good morning. It's great to have you. I haven't seen you in a long while. Yeah, I'm talking about on screen.
Good morning, Cecilia. Good to be on the show. Good morning, Tolu. Cecilia, let me teach you. You don't pronounce Tolu's surname. You sing it. It's
Okay.
Olorunmotemi.
Thank you, Olorunmotemi. Yeah, thank you.
You know.
Okay, that's the best way.
Good to be
Come
on
on.
the show.
Just
Yeah.
dance straight.
I mean, six syllabic words.
Yes, please.
Six syllables. Okay. All right, Austin Okon Akma. You see, very short. Austin Okon Akma. Yeah, that's the name. I mean, compound name, but it's friendly. All right. Austin, I mean, where do we? Okay, let's just rest the
Now, I just
NBA
wanted
there
to say something about Serena Williams before we go on, if you've got a chance. Because I listened to her press, her post-match conference, and I felt for her. She's been a model of women's tennis. I know how painful it would be whenever the media in your face and they're asking you about that elusive 24th Grand Slam title. I told Yemi the last time I was on this show that it's sad she's meeting Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka knows how to beat Serena. She just knows how to do it. And she's on a fine form. So Osaka is now on a 20-match unbeaten streak. And she has never lost a Grand Slam final. So it looks like she's going to go on to win this one again. But I felt for Serena. I think that she deserves to win that 24th Grand Slam. But I don't know. Tennis has just been crazy on her. I don't know if tennis wants her to have that title.
It's becoming like football for you, right? You can't really predict what's going to happen next.
I know.
Okay, quickly let's leave with that and talk about the D Tigers. Of course, we were in action against South Sudan at 5 p.m. Nigerian time yesterday. It was a tricky one for the D Tigers. We saw how the first round of qualifiers, yes, they stream rule. Now the second round, they're through to the final round of qualifiers. 4-all, that's for D Tigers right now. They haven't lost any of it. If we can just take a look at how it is right now for them. I mean, how they're topping. If you look at the Group D Tigers are 4-0. I mean, no one is even close. For these guys, I mean, they put in their best. They've tried as much as well, even when you don't have all the key players around. But when you have the Ike brothers and, of course, Captain Ike Diogu, everyone coming together to ensure that without the head coach and without all the coaching staff and without all the top players not being around, they can also, make something out of these qualifiers.
I know, a fantastic display by the D Tigers. I don't care if it was South Sudan. I keep saying it, that any team that gets into a competition, they are there to win. And I love the fact that South Sudan gave them some nervy moments. It was a closely contested game, ended 75-70. One would say is in Nigeria that played South Sudan in basketball, and it was just 5 points difference. Yes, that's because when you play against the best team, you have to be your best to beat them. And that's the mentality that South Sudan took into that one. And if you look at it, yes, the D Tigers won the quarters that they needed to win, except for some complacency in the second quarter. I think that was led to the halftime 38-30. Then South Sudan said, okay, if we push in the third quarter, we might just upset these guys. But shout out to Ikenna Irogu, pulled up some fantastic numbers. And it tells you the quality in this D Tigers team. They've already qualified for AfroBasket 2021. And still unbeaten, did it without the main coach, tells you that this is a team that if you give them what they need in terms of tactical directions and, giving them the right blend that they need to have as professionals, they can go on to win. I love the fact that South Sudan pushed them. That's the sort of games they should be taking to get into the main competition, that when you're the best, you are the team to beat.
You're the best. They have the team to beat. Now, Tolu, we saw, the 10 players that played, at least each of them score up to 3 points. You have Ike Diogu, Ike Regbu, of course, having a team of 16 points. Emegano added 15 points and all that on his account. These players gave in their best. At the time, they were even ahead as much as 14 points before Sudan tried to claw back to get the victory.
One thing I like about the D Tigers is that they are a well-spread team. Right from that time, it's not been a team that is just being carried solely by one star player. We have a couple of stars in the team, and every single game, everyone is running around. You have multiple players scoring as much points as they can, and that was not missing again last night. Of course, I was a bit worried when the fight back began by the South Sudanese, and I thought, okay, what's going on here? Are we going to stretch this into an overtime, or what exactly is going to happen? But it's good to see how they were able to see off the game. But it equally showed that they could get a little bit complacent, and that was one of the fears I had the last time we talked about the D Tigers. That if things go a bit sour during the run, that it could bring some sort of a lack of confidence in the coach from Udofia right now. However, they're able to see it off as professionals, and that is exactly what matters. So, about having each of the players, having the team not being reliant on a particular star right now, even when we're playing a so-called weekend side, is the most important thing, because we're able to show that, look, together we can actually see off every opposition we come against.
Okay. All right, that's a good one for the D Tigers. Final round of African Championship to be staged later in the year. They are in it. Okay, let's leave the basketball and quickly go to the Women's League games that were decided on Wednesday. I mean, the Women's League is back. Last week it started after they had to go on a 1-week break. On a 1-month break, that's after some clubs were decided to think that the health of the players are not as important as games. But then the board had to tell them that, look, there's nothing as important as the health of players. So as a result of that, they went on a 1-month break, ensuring that COVID-19 testing, the health of the players are paramount. And of course, they are back right now. And games started last week. And we talked about Bayelsa Queens, a team to really watch out for. They lost their first game last week. And of course, they went home. They hosted Edo Queens. They bounced back. And that game ended 3-2. At the death, they were still scoring. It was a goal first in Bayelsa. For Edo Queens, I mean, the highly motivated Edo Queens, they just couldn't. But in Lagos, I mean, we had 2 games that we were able to cover in Lagos, starting with the game between FC Robo and, of course, Royal Queens, 2 privately owned clubs in the country. They met at the Legacy Pitch, Surulere. And, of course, it was all about, well, FC Robo, as usual. Mother Gift's not there. Their central defender also missing. They are with the Super Falcons in Turkey. But somehow you have 3 different scorers on the day. That game ended 3-1 in favor, of course, of FC Robo. Their captain, Esther Ndubisi, she was on score sheet. You also have another one on score sheet, was also Esther. I was also on score sheet, Oyenede, and of course you have Lawa, ensuring that they got that. But Eunice Godwin tried to got one for the Royal Queens, but then that just wasn't it. This was how it started. They started, with like a team on fire, and Esther free kick actually, started the onslaught for these girls.
Well, it's good to see that the league is back,
yeah,
and it's good to see that even without. With some of the teams not being with their best players, they can still go ahead and grind out very favorable result. I like that there are a number of goals in these ones as well, 3 goals to 1 ended. And unlike what we had in the at the very first game after the restart, where we had, I think, only one game that there was 2 goals and it was a draw. Every other game ended 1-0. I think the players are getting their strides back on, and that is exactly what we want to see. No doubt, goals is the most entertaining part of football, and fans want to see the goals. People want to see that the teams can actually entertain beyond just getting results and grinding out results however they can. And that is exactly what FC Robo have been able to do right in front of, minimal fans at the Legacy pitch.
I mean, it was hard for the fans to even come in because they didn't want any of them to come, but somehow some of them were able to get into it, and that game ended.
I don't know how to feel about that. Mixed feeling, really.
The mixed feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A part of you wants the fans in the pitch, around the games once in a while. But of course, we are in a pandemic, of course, and we shouldn't forget that this league was put on hold for a month because of health and safety reasons. So the clubs need to sit up and ensure that they keep to the guidelines, keep the fans away. As much as you want them around to cheer your team up, keep to the guidelines. Don't deviate from it.
Yeah, that's what is important. Just keep to the guidelines, and most of the team had to, learn how to do that. That was the 3rd goal by Lawal for FC Robo. Now, let's go to the next one quickly before we go to Austin. Another game that was played in Lagos, that we were... okay, before we go to that game, let's just get reactions from the coach, Emmanuel Sao, and of course, the 2 scorers on the day.
At least in the first half, first 30 minutes, supposed to be 5 goals down. At least leading those people. But unfortunately, most of them are new. They don't start, but we'll give God the glory. But I scored them 80%. At least 3 goals, 3 points. It's not easy. That girl has never kept before in her life. This match is her first time. She was brought as a novice. She never know the nitty-gritty of goalkeeping. 5 years ago, and now she's keeping premiership.
For the game today, I wouldn't score my team 100% because, let me say, two of our main girls that are playing for us, they are not around. They went for Super Falcons competition. So I'll give our girls today, let me say, 70%, because not that we are too perfect, but it's just the grace of God. The three different scorers today, I'm also included. We have been in the team. We have been scoring goals. Just that most times it's always gifts. It's always gift because she's our captain and she's always up front. So not that other girls cannot perform. They can as well perform. At least you've seen some of them today. And I believe it continues like that. And for the new goalkeeper, she has been in our team. She's an upcoming goalkeeper. I pray God continue to give her the grace to keep going higher.
We played very well. We tried to play without the two players that went for the Falcons in Turkey. So we tried our best. We played to let them know that without them, we can do something in the field. Wow, this is my first goal in the Premier League this season. I feel so great to score today. Yeah.
Yes, Unity. I mean, she feels so great. The first goal of the season. She can play in different positions, versatile player, and the midfield, defensive role. And yesterday she played as number 3, and she's supposed to be natural number 10.
Wow.
And she's scoring. So Austin, I mean, FC Robo is. I mean, we know how Emmanuel Saon produces talent every time and all that. The goalkeeper we saw yesterday happened to be a new goalkeeper. So she was making a debut in the league. I mean, then you also have you had like the likes of Rashida Dajibade, I mean, Asisa Shola and all that. I mean, you just keep churning them out year in, year out. For FC Robo, right. I mean, this season, where do you think they're going to get up to?
I think they're a decent side. Every season they have the sort of quality you expect the women's league to go on to contest for the league title, but Rivers Angels, Nasarawa Amazons, and put by also Queens there. We will not let them, owing to the fact that FC Robo is that team that will churn out those new talents and coaches, and we give them an opportunity to play. I love the way they executed that one yesterday against Royal Queens. You know, at that level, knowing that your top players are not around might affect the mentality of the team. You can hear the way they were mentioning it, but they went out there, you know, got on their business and got the 3 points that was needed. They are third on the log now. I think they are very much, you know, on track to compete for the league title. And let's see if they can go out there, pick 1 or 2 points on the road and maintain some level of consistency at the legacy pitch in Surulere, Lagos. Then they might just be good this season. I like the team for the fact that they've been giving young players a chance, you know, to play football. Dream Stars ladies is also doing the same thing. It's just that they're not getting the results as it is now. But all said and done, Cecilia, it is good for women's football, and they've got good motivation in Rashida Dajibade and Asisa Toshuala. They will keep telling that story that look, these ladies started from here and look at where they are. You know, so any young girl that goes to FC Robo Queens, that goes to Rivers Angels, that goes to Bayelsa Queens, even Edo Queens, some of these teams have produced players that have played for the Super Falcons and gone on to Europe to do big things. So this is a good way to empower the girl child. And that's why it's important that everybody comes out to support women's league football in Nigeria.
Great one from you, Austin. Quickly, you mentioned Dream Stars. They were in action yesterday. Of course, they couldn't win their game at home. When they won their first game of the season, before the break happens, we were like, okay, maybe this was just a turning point. But that 1 month break, they came back. The coach is gone. I mean, she left. They had the consultant coach in the name of Sheriff Tajuddin. He was in charge of the team, taking charge of the team for the first time. But somehow they lost to Pelican Stars. Remember when Pelican Stars came to Lagos? They were beating 5-1 by, of course, FC Robo. And now Pelican Stars came back to Lagos again, went to Agege, and they collected all 3 points away from the team in Lagos. What happens to be the pride of Lagos? It's not looking good at all for Dream Stars, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but it's good experience for them, you know.
Yeah.
Abolara is a good friend. I also know Sheriff. I see what they're trying to do with that team. Each time I watch them train at the Agege Stadium, I'm moved because I see a burning passion by some young ladies, not just to play football, but also make a living out of it, be responsible in the society. There's nothing wrong with losing a game at home. You know, in the world of sports, impossible is nothing. Ibom Angels lost the other day to Rivers Angels, you know. I will also say it. So for these ladies, they know that they are still work in progress, but it is a big, huge opportunity for them to be competing at top flight football in Nigeria. We're getting to talk about them. Cecilia, that way they are winning. We're showing them on television. They are winning. All of those trainings I've watched them put in. This is what it is, you know. So it's one step at a time. Pelican Stars, traditional team in Nigerian women's football, can stun any team in their day. We know the major problem of that team, poor welfare. So let's say state government gives attention to women's football the way they give to the men. Somebody would probably have jumped up and said, okay, Dream Stars lady, we're going to take care of you. Maybe they need a little bit of motivation. The management of the team are probably just, you know, trying to get this team going, you know. But I'm really proud of these girls because I know some of them personally. I remember when Coach Bankole Olorukere, that's another name that I struggle with, was part of the team that has gone on now to, I think he's under 17 or under 20. You see, that's progression. Now he can recommend some of the players that are good from Dream Stars. That's progress. That's why I keep telling persons that it's 360 degrees branding. At every level you can make an impact, you can take it to the next level. So shout out to Dream Stars ladies. They lost that one against Pelican Stars. Good job, Pelican Stars also. But I love the fact that all the teams in the Nigeria Women's Football League are doing so well. We love what the board are also doing. COVID-19 was a threat. They say we have to pause. If Angels misbehaved, they fined them. That's how to run a professional league. So well done, everyone.
Yeah, well done to all of them. Quickly, let's just get a reaction from Pelican Stars. The coach, Tajuddin, obviously has seen how he can actually ensure that, well, the players he's now coaching will get used to his own tactics.
Glory to Almighty God, because I'm under prayer. But I thank God for the victory. I'm very, very happy for this victory because to get away victory with the tension at home, I give glory to Almighty God. And I promise by the grace of Almighty God, you continue to work hard. I plan for this game because our last home match is a flop. We don't believe that we can play a draw. But as we finish that match, I call my players, I talk to them psychologically. What is your problem? And they open up to me. We sit down together, we round it off, and we plan our game strategy to win this match. I get info about this team, so I have to work on them. Their weak area, their power area. And I thank God, my player played to instruction. I thank God.
Well, regardless of playing home or away, our objective before every game is to win. And yes, we're home, but that notwithstanding, it wasn't the outcome we planned for, not the outcome we expected. I think the game overall was a good show of women's football in Nigeria. It's my first game as consulting head coach for the team. But all in all, it was a good game, like I said, good showing of women's football, but definitely disappointed after that result. I've just come into the team. I've had 2-3 training sessions with the girls, and I'm sure the fans will be able to see that there's a different style of play, and it will take time for them to imbibe on the new methodologies of playing football. But I mean, the season is still long ahead, and I'm sure we'll climb out of the bottom of the table. Well, I mean, these kind of things also happen in life. When you're knocked down, what do? You pick yourself back up. If you're on the ground, there's no further place to go downwards, it's to look upwards. So I think that's enough encouragement to think that we're at rock bottom at the moment, so the only way we can look is upwards. So we've got to pick ourselves up off the ground, quickly get back in training. Some of the things that we didn't implement, that we did in training, that we didn't implement on match day, we work on them. But most importantly, I think we need to improve on our attacking play.
Okay, improvement, that's what it's all about. Talking about Tajuddin Sheriff, that's the consulting coach for Dreamstar. Before that, you heard from Pelican Stars coach Adet Egan talking about their performance, picking all 3 points from Lagos. Okay, we'll leave the Women's League now and quickly go over to the UEFA Champions League. Big games that were played last night. As I said in my introduction, I when Tolu came on, I talked about 2 big guys who had to make a difference in the games that return. We'll focus on, of course, the game between Juventus and FC Porto. We expected Juventus to win this one, but somehow FC Porto were a better side, and they got, on the they're on the driving seat. Yeah. But then somehow you're talking about Juventus, and of course they're going to go to Turin to play the second leg. It might just be a hard one for them.
Yes, and Porto haven't particularly been in form per se in
Yeah.
in the Portuguese league either. So the result came as a huge surprise to me. But then it's football. We get to see shocking results these days.
Yeah.
Just like what we had on match day one of the UEFA Champions League on Tuesday. So I think it just continued from there because no one really expected the sort of result we had at Camp Nou. So, but Juve will have themselves to blame because for the opening 60 minutes, they were barely creating anything. They were struggling to string the right passes together. They went down really early. I think about 63 seconds into the first half, they were a goal down. And then at the restart, they were a goal down again.
Yeah.
The 2 goals down, 19 seconds into the restart.
Yeah.
So it showed that they were very sloppy at the back, beginning each of the halves. And that cost them dearly eventually. Fortunately for them, they got a goal back through Federico Chiesa, which could be the all-important goal they need, heading back into the return fixture in Turin. So they just need a 1-goal victory to progress. However, they will be beating themselves really well if they don't progress out of the round of 16 because that performance last night was unforgivable.
Unforgivable, right? Zaidu Sanusi was part of the FC Porto team, so we're actually rooting for him. And Pepe
he was solid, and fortunately for him, that last ditch tackle on Ronaldo wasn't called a penalty because it was flawless up until that point. Yeah. So fortunately for him, and it's good to see him play at the top level of football, going against some of the best guys. Look, that's a proper left back we have in Nigeria anyway.
You see?
Something to look out for.
Wisely. Okay. All right. Austin, Haaland, I'll ask you about Borussia Dortmund and Sevilla. I mean, when we were talking about the game, Bada actually talked about the fact that it's all about Sevilla and all that, but somehow it was different. When you have Erling Haaland, you don't know what he's going to come up with. He's the fastest player to score 10 goals in one particular team, and so far he has scored 18 goals in 13 appearances in all competitions. This is only Lewandowski, of course, that is better than when it comes to 2019-2020 season. That's the Champions League and all that. This guy, I mentioned that he might just be the one that will take over from someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. You believe in that?
New kid on the block, but I don't think it's too early, But shout out to Haaland. It was phenomenal last night. In my review, I said he did everything and got everything needed from that match except a red card. Gave the assist to Mahmoud for the first goal, scored the next 2 goals, and look how he scored it to make sure that Dortmund goes into the break comfortable. Then they were leading 3-1, and then he wrapped it up in the 90th minute with a yellow card. That's how to say, look, I want to get everything from this match. Puts Dortmund in a good position for the second leg. But hey, we always say that this is football. When you think you know where it's going, it stuns you. But this is a good way to, get your first leg going. So Sevilla must need to dig deep, look for, something out of this one. But I don't see a way out of it for them. If Dortmund goes back home with the objective of just sealing what they started in the first leg, so they are good to go to the next round. Juve felt like they were undone by some poor officiating. That's what you get when you go into a match with some level of complacency because they thought, it's FC Porto, they'll win. And it's just this little sort of results that stains a good performance, And now they've lost first leg 2-1, puts pressure on them in the second leg in Turin, but bookmakers will jump up now and say easily Cristiano Ronaldo and his teammates will jump up and get it done. Meanwhile, they don't know what Porto is also planning. So far, it's been good in the UEFA Champions League. I'm glad you're not talking about the humiliation at the Camp Nou.
Of course, that was embarrassing, all right? That's embarrassing. We're going to ask you about that. But to actually put into perspective, I'm talking about what Haaland has been able to do. Now, if you check Cristiano Ronaldo, he failed to score in his first 13 Champions League games. And for Lionel Messi, he managed 3 across the same numbers and all that. And for Haaland, he has scored 10. Come on, so that's why you have to put some respect in his name. No pressure. But I'm just looking at what he's been able to do.
But let's not forget there are also different times and the level of the competition is different. And I've said it that with COVID now, the world has been refreshed. So it's like we're starting anew. So anything can happen, So, but shout out, doesn't take anything away from his performance. He's a golden boy.
before we leave, before signing out, quickly, something about Josh Maja. I mean, Fulham and Burnley were in action yesterday. Of course, Man City and Everton. Manchester City right now is when they lose. That's when it becomes news. They don't have to lose anymore. I mean, 17 games unbeaten and all that. So for Fulham, Josh Maja also was, I mean, he was in action. You also saw Alaino. He was in action. He scored the goal for them to get that draw. What do you make of these two players, the combo they are having, the fun they are having with Fulham? That's why the fact that Fulham couldn't win away from home.
And that's what the coach will be saying, that we should start, that they should start winning, you know, because if you look at Fulham and their struggles, they're still not out of the relegation waters.
Yeah.
But that was a very important win for them. I've said it, in the last 4 or 5 games, Burnley has been my team, starting from when they messed up Liverpool. So for them to get a point, Fulham to get a point at Burnley was a good display. And shout out to Ola, you know, actually for getting that goal. It was a good one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He's showing some level of consistency with this team, and I love it so well. So let's see. It's a fight for Fulham to survive and stay in the Premier League. That's their main objective. Let's see if they can get it at the end of the day.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Let's do this again. Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, quickly, I mean, I'm going to gloat right now before we look at the papers. Why? Josh Maja. I mean, you were here. I mean, I need to talk about him because I said the next time I see you, I'm going to ask you about Josh Maja. Put some respect in that name.
You know what I did?
He sent you a message, right?
You know what I did that night?
Yeah.
Tayo was buzzing me. Come on, guys.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Yeah, Josh Maja, great one.
Yeah, great one. I mean,
Eggs my face.
I mean,
now.
before we leave this, I'll just
face.
quickly take 2 tweets. I mean, we just have 2 papers today, but I'll just quickly take few tweets before we leave the studio. Guerrero Adio says, did I hear someone say Tom Brady does not perform at the level of Serena Williams? We're not comparing because the team sports and, of course, you have individual sports. It's not the same. He said, please check his record if the Super Bowl he's held 4 times a year. Brady would have probably won over 20 championships. I think it's harder playing on a team. We get your point. We're not comparing both. We're talking about the age. He's 43. He's still playing at a high level. And, of course, Serena is 39. Just people telling them it's time for you to retire and all that. I think that's what he was trying to say. Not really was putting him down. And Charles Mba says, Super Falcons players, Courtney Dike, Zerkwan, as he was sidelined for no good reason. NFF is dividing his team. The result is clear. No Olympics for them. It's not the best for our female national teams. Well, we have so many players, so some can be called and some may not be called. And finally, Salah Sabo says, he's happy that Falcons are playing. Beautiful game at the moment. And Serena in tears early this morning, very painful for him. He's also not happy that Serena lost a whole lot. We're sorry, tomorrow we'll be able to take tomorrow we should be able to take some of your tweets. Quickly at the papers, start with Sporting Sun here. Sporting Sun, Gannett Ross screams, Eagle strikers give me headache. Yes, it's a good headache for him because they are all scoring, even defenders.
Yes.
So it's a good headache for him. And his final one is Complete Sports. And Complete Sport here, Eagle Stars go on gold rampage here. You have Onuachu, Sadiq, Olaino, and of course, Ameru, all of them scoring across Europe. So that's why he's having a whole lot of headache. Tolu, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a great day.